everybody. My name is Making Sang. I am your host for the FOMO Creator Show. And today we have got the fabulous Faye Edwardes, and we're going to be talking about how to create FOMO with your positivity. Let's bring Faye onto the show. How are you, my lovely?
I am amazing. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for asking. Now, the first segment of the show is how we met. So, Faye, do you remember the first time that we met?
I do. It was in Edinburgh at the amazing Hay House Writers Workshop last September. And I remember seeing this gorgeous laughing face and the huge booming laugh and was like, I don't know who that person is, but I want to be their friend. And then just a month ago, I heard the same laugh, turned round, and there you were at Be Inspired in Manchester. And I was like, there she is.
And this is us. We were just I was just interviewing you and just learning a little bit about you, and also a little bit about who inspired you the most, because the conference is about being inspired, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh, and wasn't it incredible? Totally incredible and amazing. And I was talking about Alex, wasn't I? And their talk and how inspired I was. But everything about it, it was my first time at Be Inspired and just was literally bouncing off the ceilings. By the time we got to record, it was the end of the 2 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And there was just so much to be inspired in the room. Absolutely.
And I must say, your talk was absolutely incredible. Really, really amazing. But also, not only that, as soon as I saw you there, I then started seeing, all of your stories, the FOMO and the people coming in. And it really, really whipped me up. And it massively inspired me to get the selfies, take the photos, put them all over socials, and then had so many people contacting me going, where are you? It looks insane. What is it about? And so, did exactly what your entire thing is supposed to do.
Absolutely. Now, talking about whipping up into a frenzy, I want to talk a little bit more about who you are and what you do. And I think that this is best described by your book that's coming out. Do you want to tell a little bit about the little book of positivity, Faye?
I do. It's so I am on the 16th of May, 2023. Publishing my first solo authored book, which is called The Little Book of Positivity. And it is a first aid kit for your well-being. And so it's separated into 7 chapters where we talk about the different nuances, exactly what you can do. It's full of exercises, stories, hints, tips, techniques, everything that people need to be more positive in life. And a lot of my clients, the people I work with, the people I come into contact with, when they see it, they're just like, oh, I need to know how to be more positive, how to embrace life more positively and less grumpy and be more in the moment. And so this is exactly what that is about.
Now, this is you speaking to a particular audience, isn't it? So can you tell us a little bit about what you do when you're speaking to a particular group of people?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a public speaker and a motivational speaker, and I work with all sorts of organisations, often corporates and NHS and local authority, businesses, schools, university, and I talk to them about how to have more positivity in their life and how they can embrace things, how everything is a choice, how we can approach life itself. And so that's most of my working life at the moment. I am a positive psychology coach and mentor, but I do a lot of public speaking about basically embodying positivity and how that can increase your productivity, your happiness, your interaction with colleagues, and also corporate side of things, how the overall productivity of an organization can be massively impacted by focusing on the positivity and the well-being of staff.
Wonderful. Now, on this segment, we tend to talk about the ABCs of FOMO. So, Faye, the A in ABC is really about authentic authority. You mentioned that you are a positive psychology coach. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means? And also, what is the Positive Psychology Coach Academy?
So I am a positive psychology coach. I basically had a huge life epiphany in about 2016 and realized that I was tired and stressed and drained. And I just had this burning feeling that there was more to life than what I was living. I had all the things, all the tick boxes, great home, successful businesses, lovely family, lived in the most idyllic location in the forest in Cornwall. Something was missing. And so I started to do that thing where I reached out and went, what do I need? And I did everything. I did sound therapy, Reiki, I studied. What I did was focus on the people that I really admired and went, what do they do? How do they do it? What makes them tick? And I came across an amazing woman called Nick Pigeon, who is a positive psychologist, and her book, Now Is Your Chance. And I read that and went, oh my God, this is it. This is where I'm at. This is the difference. And so really became obsessed with positive psychology. It's a science. It is part of the psychological world. It's a relatively new science. And the main difference is traditional psychology focuses on what's wrong with you and how to fix it. Positive psychology focuses on what you're amazing at and how to do more of that in your life. So it's all about strengths theory. It's about character strengths. It's about creating a life that's in alignment with who you are, what you care about, and what you're good at. And so I started studying positive psychology myself. And 2 years ago, became a master coach in positive psychology. And now, in a full circle moment, I am on the team at the Positive Psychology Coaching Academy, where I train and work with and nurture future positive psychology coaches. And the vast majority of people coming through there are business owners. They could work in all sorts of businesses. We have doctors, vets, we have lawyers, we have coaches in other industries, fitness, health, business. But they want to incorporate positive psychology into their work. They see the value of embodying it. And so I now work in the Positive Psychology Coaching Academy. So the picture you just showed was a huge event we held in London last September, where hundreds of people came from throughout the world on a day where we learned the impact of positive psychology. And we split down wealth into the 3 segments, which is relationships, business, and finances. And so when you have each of those things, that's what true wealth is about, which includes time to be with the people that you want to be with and do the things that you want to do, while also getting accomplishment from having an amazing business.
Oh my goodness, that is fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to gain a little bit more of an insight into the Coaching Academy, which brings us on to the next section, which is BTS. Now, I don't mean the K-pop global sensation. I mean behind the scenes. So, Faye, can you talk us a little bit about these 2 photographs? Now, I know you mentioned the fabulous Nick Pigeon already, and that's the lady in the middle, isn't it?
That is, yeah, exactly. So yeah, like I said, I came across her book in 2017, and it is still one of my bedside Bibles. It's called Now Is Your Chance. And for me, it was my light bulb moment. Before that, genuinely, I didn't know that life was a choice. I thought life that was something that happened to us and that we had to, go along with and be the passenger and make the best of. I did not know that we could be the driver and we could make life happen for us. And on the back of that, I started incorporating positive psychology into my daily routine. So I started waking up early. I stopped drinking alcohol. I spent hours walking in nature. I really, really tried to work out the things that made me thrive and made me feel amazing. And what this led me to doing was realizing that I loved property and that property was a massive passion for me. And on the back of embodying positive psychology into my life, I built a very, very successful property portfolio.
That's incredible. And that actually segues nicely into our next section, which is create content for the lurkers. Now, you mentioned a little bit about your property portfolio, and not only are you bringing up, you're publishing a brand new book, which we'll talk more about, but you're already an accomplished published author. Do you want to talk us a little bit about these fabulous photographs, these fabulous memories?
Yes. So in May 2022, last year, I wrote a chapter for an amazing collaboration book. And the collaboration was brought together by a wonderful lady called Louisa Herridge, who I worked with when she trained as a positive psychology coach. And she runs an organization called Mamas United. And that's about Mamas Ignited, sorry. And that's about, getting women in business, mums in business, and giving them training and strategy. She brought together these amazing group of women who have something about them where they had a real low, and they managed to turn it around and turn it into a moment of huge inspiration and positivity. So my chapter is called The Science of Happiness, and it focuses on my own journey, basically, of buying a forest, running a business, everything going quite belly up, and then how I dug deep and what I reached for and how I managed to come out of that. And that includes my journey into positive psychology. And it was a #1 bestseller in 11 categories on Amazon. It's still selling now. All of the proceeds went to the Fly Anyway Foundation, which is Danny Wallace's charity that helps women who have been victims of domestic violence and abuse start their own businesses. And the final picture is of me coaching in property. So like I said, I have a successful property portfolio that I've built over the last 6 years on the foundations of incorporating positive psychology into my life. And I now coach property investors in their property journeys. But what I really do is focus on mindset. Because property can be really hard. So we have grit, we have resilience, we have reframing and making the most of situations. And so I work for a big property training organization called New Era as one of their property coaches, and I absolutely love it.
Gosh, you're so passionate. You're a woman of many, many talents. Thank you so much for sharing, Faye. Now, this next segment is probably best described with this fabulous video. Back to the FOMO. So I want to go back to how you create a FOMO on your social media platforms to illustrate who your clients are and how you make an impact on them. You're already an accomplished author, and I do want to go back to your little book of positivity as well. So I was wondering, Faye, if you could walk through a little bit about what we have here. So, Faye, did you want to go through a little bit about what we have in this photograph and also the chapter of your book?
So here is the index page of my book, The Little Book of Positivity, and then a group of people that we hold a regular monthly group where everybody in this photo, as you can see, is having an amazing time. With the book, what I wanted to do was make it so you could have it wherever you go. Your bedside table, your handbag, in the downstairs loo, on your desk, whip it out on the train, wherever you might need it. It's separated into 7 chapters that focus on specific areas. So we've got self-confidence, calm, mood booster, focus, courage, relationships, and fun. So, for example, if you were going for a job interview, you might want courage. So you open to chapter 5, you flick in, there are 3 2-3 exercises that you can use that you know will make you feel more courageous. Similarly, something awful's happened, something really terrible, be it work, home, family, whatever it might be, and you know that you need to calm down. You whip out the book, you open chapter 2. In there is examples and anecdotes and stories about introducing calm into your life, but also a couple of interventions and exercises that you can do in that moment. The most amazing thing is about positive psychology is the whole thing is entirely scientifically proven. There's evidence, there's data that shows that these interventions work. And so we have to just do them and trust that they will make the difference that we want them to do.
Wonderful. And could you explain maybe another chapter in the book as well?
I think my favourite one really is calm, because so many people come to me, and I do work with a lot of women, a lot of mums, a lot of people who have children, busy lives, businesses, homes, and they just feel like they're in this permanent state of chaos and that they're never quite where they want to be when they want to be there. And that's really stressful. Nobody likes that. And so when you start to understand the things that we can do, I've actually done a post this morning about the power of Mondays and the stories we tell ourselves. And if we wake up on a Monday morning without having prepped what we need for the week, what our families might need for the week, we're then going to spend the morning dashing around. Did we do breakfast? Was the kitchen tidy? Where do I need to be today? And so it starts in this era of chaos instead of being really calm and gentle. And for years and years, I did vision boards. I went to all sorts of workshops where we worked with vision boards and we worked with, what do we want? Calm was the word. In fact, I just looked around. I'm sure I've got one of them around here. Calm was always on there. I was craving calm and peace. And when you realize that there are really, really simple but wildly effective things that you can do that bring calm into your life, it makes so much difference. So breathing is an obvious one. Breath work is an incredible discipline that makes so much difference to our central nervous system, to the way that we approach things, to the way that we interact with people. And yet we don't really use it as effectively as a tool. It's not quite as simple as breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 4, although that does make a huge difference. There are so many things that we can set in place that we call habit stacking. So you might have one habit in an evening that's then followed by one habit in the morning, that then means by the time you're heading out for the Monday of this fabulous week, everybody is happy, smiling, calm. They've had a great time together. Breakfast has been amazing. And imagine being able to frame the beginning of your week with that calm and loving environment, rather than where are my shoes, where's my PE bag, eat your breakfast, I haven't got my homework or whatever. You know, there are such different ways and different ways to approach the start of the week.
I absolutely love that. Now, there is one thing that I did want to bring up from your book as well. So, one of the topics there is self-confidence. Now, I don't know about you, Faye, but you know, there have been from time to time where I did lack that confidence because something happened, life got in the way, or something happened, like my Instagram account and Facebook accounts got hacked, and I didn't quite know what to do. So is that the right time to pick up your book? Do I need to sit with it for a moment? What would I do if I had my confidence? You know, yeah, like I say, my accounts got hacked, and I'm just, at that manic moment, or if, like you say, having that chaos moment of a Monday morning, what would be the first thing that you would advise people to do?
So specifically in relation to the book, and I explained this at the beginning.
Looks like we've lost Faye there. Oh, is she back? It looks like we were just about to go into the when you are at that point where you are not feeling calm, or when you've lacked self-confidence, at what point do you do you pick up the book? Do you need to sit with that emotion for a while? What is it that you do in order to then perhaps equip yourself with the tools in order to invite that positivity back into yourselves, and maybe sort of form a habit to get back into it, and that was a point that we were just about to get up to, so just see where Faye is at the moment. Oh. There we are. Hi, Faye. How are you?
Well, I don't know what happened. I'm fine.
That's okay. So we were just at the point of talking about, if we had that moment of panic, if we were, had that loss of self-confidence, what would you do, for the viewers here? We're at that moment of panic, or we're at that moment of loss of self-confidence. What would you do? What would be the first bit of advice you would give to the viewers?
So yeah, well, at the beginning of the book, the idea is you read the whole thing, and that starts to plant the seed of what you can do in those precise moments. Specifically, when it comes to a lack of self-confidence, we have an amazing intervention, an exercise called What's My Story? And what we do is we break down our life into chunks. So it could be any chunks of time, but I often find that decades work really well. So you do your teens and your 20s and your 30s, depending how old you are. And then you write down, what did you achieve in those decades? So because it's quite a long set of time, perhaps you might have done some hobbies or got sporting achievements in your teens. Then you may have done your exams, and then in your 20s you may have had job interviews, or fantastic promotions, or if you're a business owner, you created a new business, or perhaps you bought your first property. And then what we do is we create a picture of all of your achievements in one place. And by the sheer nature of that, we start to focus on what we have done and what we can do, rather than I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, this is not my area of expertise. And the psychological impact of that is really enabling us to see our strengths, where we thrive, what makes us flourish. And then that really, really helps us spur us on to the next thing we're going to do.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Now, it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you, Faye. Thank you so much for explaining, the science behind psychology, and giving us a few tools on what we can do. Now, of course, the next segment of the show is FOMO promo. And of course, we do want to talk a little bit about what you've got going on. Now you've got, I'll just show a little insight into what we have here. So you talked a little bit about your little book of positivity, and thank you so much for sharing, the various chapters within it. What do we have here then?
It's interesting that we have started talking. We're filming this today because before we came on air, I was saying to you that a year ago, I went to Spain on my own. And that was when I started writing. And it was an absolute last minute, really courageous, spontaneous decision. And I just had this massive calling that I wanted to be somewhere completely different and to start writing. At that point, it wasn't called The Little Book of Positivity. I didn't know what it looked like. The book even starts with me saying, oh my God, I'm in Spain on my own and I'm having the most fantastic time. And I knew that I wanted to provide something, wanted to create something really, really accessible. Because the majority of people who come to see me, regardless of where they are in their careers, I'm approached by so many people who on the face of it are wildly successful on paper. They've got amazing family life. They've got great holidays. They've got cars, but they're not happy. They are not happy and they don't know why. In the book, I quote the Happiness Survey 2017 found that 46% of the UK population did not describe themselves as happy. And that was pre-pandemic. And, so we have this huge gaping hole in society with, all the things that we think make us happy. And when we get them, they don't. And what we haven't really focused on is well-being. It's always been seen as a nice to have, go for a spa day, look after yourself. That's not what well-being is about at all. Well-being is about saying, who am I? What's my meaning? What's my purpose? How does what I do on a day-to-day basis align with that and really fulfill them? One of the most important factors of well-being is belonging. Where do you belong? There are people who can go into work every day and do their job and do it amazingly, and they do not feel that they belong and they don't have the accomplishment sense. And so, there's this huge disconnect between what you do and who you are. And when there is this chasm, this divide between those things, people aren't going to be happy. And then they don't feel like they've got any choices because their entire life is created around their salary, their mortgage, their children, the ballet lessons, the car, whatever else, the holidays they need to pay for. So they don't ever feel that they can make any changes that are going to make them happier. And what we do generally in positive psychology is strip it right back, say, right, what makes you happy? What gives you, we call them positive emotions. And so for me, for example, in my week, what gives me positive emotions is going for a walk, being by the sea, singing with my choir, spending time with my children. That what a lot of people do is you say, what gives you positive emotions? They go, oh, my kids. And I'm like, that's gorgeous, that's brilliant, but it's not enough. Because we are so much greater than being parents. And what we need to show to our children is that we are whole human beings and that we are whole, not just as a parent. So that we go to choir, that we take bike rides, that we go surfing, whatever it might look like for you. I'm picking all of the Cornish pastimes here, but there are loads more. It might be knitting, it might be croquet, it might be a whole host of other things, musical theatre, the things that we have in our lives that make us feel alive. One of the best examples I get from people I work with is netball. And that's because when you're playing netball, you can't think about anything else, right? Because the likelihood is if you stop and start thinking about debts or the washing up or whatever it might be, this huge ball will come and smack you in the face because you're not in the moment. And so you need to stay fully in that game, which means your head and your brain and your mind get a chance to be completely clear of all of those things that go round and mix up and get lost in there. So when people come, we strip it back. What brings you joy and how often do you do it? So much of the time, I'll have this, amazing person come and I say, okay, what brings you joy in your life? Silence. They genuinely don't know. They're so out of touch. They're like, me? Am I supposed to have joy? I thought I was too busy being serious, important and successful and, all of those things. They forget. We need to be having positive emotions 3-4 times a week. And whether that is as simple as putting your trainers on and getting outside, that's brilliant. But when you then start to create commitments to yourself, you create habits that support you. I am going to do this once a week. I really am. And then you add the next thing. And then, as we know, when you create habits, they stick. And that's when you form this solid foundation. So what I wanted to do with the book was provide it in really easy, accessible, understandable language. So it's basically a bit like having a chat with me. It starts off with something like, hey, you, Fabby, gorgeous human, how are you? Oh my God, it's such a... And it goes on in that tone. So a lot of the work that I do, it's written in complete, complicated psychobabble that's quantum physics and central nervous system and your amygdala and everything else. Most people who aren't in this world would just be mind boggled in seconds. And I'm not saying I'm not, but my job here is to bridge this gap between, yes, this is why it works, and this is how you can apply it to your life. Really simply, really easily, really realistically, because we are all busy people with all the things going on. And then start to see the differences and make it personal for them. So that was my driver. You keep it in your handbag, in your desk, wherever it might be. You whip it out, you read the bit you need to, and some of it will make you laugh, make you cry. I'm vulnerable. I tell you about some of the rubbish things that have happened to me over the years, because if they hadn't, I wouldn't be able to share any of this. I wouldn't know any of it. I've had to grab all these bits on my journey. And, most people who work in this industry of well-being, they feel so amazing now in comparison with how they used to feel. That desire to share is overwhelming, and it starts with your family, your friends, your loved ones, but then other people that you work with and your clients. You're like, you could change this, you could be so much happier and so much more fulfilled. And so that's where the burning desire comes from. It's just this almost a duty to share.
Love that. I love that so much. Well, Faye, thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. If you want to find out more from Faye, you can see that you can sign up to her book, fayeedwardes.co.uk/book. Definitely catch up with her on her website. You can find her on Facebook as well. My goodness, how inspirational was Faye. She was incredible. Thank you so much for time, Faye. Best of luck with your book. I'm really looking forward to seeing it published, and we're going to be going live in your group and talking a little bit more about your book on the 16th. So I'm very excited about that. So it brings me to the end of the show where I say, roll the credits.